So this piece here to my left is titled Lure, and it's a personification actually. However, if we look at the plant world and the human entity, you can see some crossovers in some of the attraction behaviors that we both employ. And that's sort of what I played on in this piece with Lure. So Lure is glass fused to copper, sterling silver, and Lure is actually a fantasy plant. She's not a real plant. She's intended to be a stand-in for a female who's done everything to attract. So she's an artifice. There's an element of the fake laid over what might be the real in order to attract a mate or promote the species down the road. Flowers do the same thing. They need a pollinator. So they find their ways of pollinating through attraction. So if the room had any kind of vibration in it, Lure is cantilevered, so it would shimmy a little bit. It's a perfume vessel. It's a scent vessel. So right in this area here, this is the stopper, it'll come out. It's also sculpture. So that's the storyline of Lure. And she's sort of thrust herself forward, her bosom's thrust forward, her hair is coiffed. She's just put on the nines. She's ready to do it. She's gonna get it done. Next to Lure is a piece that is very, very, very contemporary in how I approached the subject matter while throwing back to early Byzantine and early Christian iconography and architecture. So I took somewhat of a form that represented a slight variation on Hagia Sophia, which is a cathedral that originally was Christian and is currently Muslim, in Constantinople, and wanted to address the subject matter that moving away entirely from the Christian theme into the subject matter that is more contemporary to what we're going through right now currently. We have had a beehive decimation problem for quite a number of years now, and that fascinated me years ago. I was raised in rural Ohio, so there's a certain element of crops and all of that. I'm a gardener, I plant vegetable gardens, so all of these things are relevant to me. And the idea that we might have our food supply threatened because of the bee decimation was significant. So I launched this piece based on that, and then as I was working on it, we are in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, which then brings another element of the potential for food scarcity based on all sorts of other factors. So the piece took on sort of multiple layers of meaning for me. What happens to a culture or a society where food scarcity rises in importance? We tend to gravitate to creating spirituality around things that become highly important to a culture or a society. And so I wanted to elevate a seed vault to that status where it becomes worshipped, it becomes sacred, it becomes highly protected by the culture that needs to preserve these seeds for the next season so that it can feed its population group. Now, we don't know whether we're facing more trauma or whether we will back away from trauma internationally, worldwide. But as of now, we're in the midst of it, and we really don't have a way of understanding where we're headed. This harkens back a little bit to the trifecta of disasters during the Middle Ages, which was initially a climate issue. Then that created a certain amount of food shortage, and the food shortage, because people became sort of starved, created a plague. Are we there again, or are we not? So this whole imagery revolves around what was, what is, what could be.